Hello, everyone, and welcome to Doing Business in Bentonville. I'm Andy Wilson, and it's so great that you're joining us again, and thank you. I have to tell you, we have got some great guests this morning. We're going to get straight into that really quick, but before I do, one thing I want to say to all of our viewers, thank you. Because of you, you have now expanded our reach to over 100 countries. We have thousands of views a day because of you, so thank you for your loyalty. And you know, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, message me, and I don't care what you message me about, I will answer you. And I love getting those comments from you. So thank you. Let's get straight away. So welcome, Leon Doom. Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow. It's great to see you guys again. Of course, Leon is almost a regular here.
So, bit of a veteran status, right?
I know. I love it. You know, Leon, you came before we went way back when we had live events.
That's right.
Wow. And you know, we're going to do that again.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are. We're talking about live events right now. In fact, I'm not supposed to talk about this yet, but there may be one this year. So, okay. So stay tuned. Yeah, we're working on it. And, but Leon, you and Doom, again, thank you for being here. I enjoyed our time yesterday, and we'll talk about our store walk we had in the Walmart and the Sam's Club yesterday. And, you know, Leon, you have always brought such great insight to our viewers and to Doing Business in Bentonville, and your knowledge and expertise, you know, has just helped us so much. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's been great. So, but let's get a bit more introduction to you and to Doom. So if you'll begin and talk about your wonderful company, your background, and then we'll pass it over to Doom and you do the same, okay?
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Okay. So I work for Smurfit Westrock. Smurfit Westrock's a leader in the packaging, merchandising, e-commerce, packaging space as well. Really around the world, across substrates, so primary packaging and secondary packaging, tertiary e-commerce packaging, and across categories. Right. So, you know, from edible to non-edible to general merchandise to food service packaging, you name it, we do. We're in the packaging business. Kind of around the world and across across categories. I'm VP of Retail Insights and Solutions with Smurfit Westrock. I've been with the company now coming on 8 years, but prior to that, about 33 years now in the consumer goods and retail space. Mm-hmm. How about you, Dune?
So I'm the local account executive for the Bentonville-based design center for Smurfit Westrock. Mm-hmm. So I handle basically everything we do for Sam's and Walmart. I work with our local design team. Mm-hmm. We have a full facility that allows us to do prototyping, quick runs, everything from signage to setting your displays at the layout center. We're just a full service on the ground team here to support the suppliers when they need something done quickly, set at the layout center, revisions. That's what we're here for, to support really Walmart, Sam's, and the supplier community.
Wonderful. But Doom, this is your first time with us on Doing Business in Bentonville.
It is, in person.
Right. We're glad that you're here.
Thank you so much.
We've known each other for a long time, and so as Leon and I have, and so it's just great, gentlemen, to have you. We had such a great day yesterday, everyone. I got to tell you, there's, you know, my 25 plus years at Walmart, one of the things I love so much, I never wanted to stop doing, was walking Walmart stores. And yesterday, the three of us got to do that. And we're going to get into the details of those two stores, with the store and the club, in a moment. But what we want to do is really, I want you to hear from Leon. He's really done a lot of work and he's given a lot of thought into what I call Walmart's success. And Leon, please share that, and then we'll get into the store walk. But talk about, you know, how's Walmart got to this point?
Yeah.
And they just released their third quarter results, and you're going to share that. You're going to talk about those too, the financials. This was all public. So, Leon, talk about that.
Yeah, it is really, it's hard to talk about Walmart today without using superlatives. You know, I mean, they are just running on all cylinders. You know, the first quarter this year they were up 4.5, and then they beat it. You know, the next one with at 4.6. My gosh, traffic was up, ticket was up. All departments that they report were up. Despite general merchandise deflation, they were still up. So you saw all of these variables coming into play. The e-commerce business was up 26%, I think it was. Advertising was up in the 40s. Inventory was kept at around 2%. When you've got a comp growth of 4.6 to keep inventory at 2% and still maintain in stocks, I mean, this is just it's from success to success. Yeah. So really hard to find anything negative there. They've been spending years now, as you know, investing in technology, investing in automation and supply chain, and also marketing and their media networks. And I think we're starting to move into a period now where we could actually say they're harvesting some of that success. I mean, look at Sam's. My God, Sam's up 6%. Growing. And the other couple of things I've noticed here is, the strength of that e-commerce business and the extent to which now, as they've said, this is a profitable business for them. It used to be when e-commerce grew disproportionately and profit took a hit. Right. Well, that's no longer the case anymore. And all of that automation that they've put in place, I think, has really driven that. A third of their operating profit now, Andy, comes from e-commerce, advertising, membership, third-party distribution, et cetera. And they've created what they call a second P&L. Now, this is fascinating. For those of us, you and I, who grew up in the traditional productivity loop, which is, it's Bible.
Yeah,
so it's retail Bible, I should say.
Absolutely.
Down here, I teach a class at University of New Hampshire, and we study the productivity loop. I mean, it's part of the lure of retail. They've created, in effect, with this second P&L, a new productivity loop that is feeding the primary one. And then the last one I would point to is kind of a long answer to your question.
No, that's all. Keep going. I love this.
The long answer, the last thing I'd say here, and as part of this long answer, is Walmart has pulled off here something that it's very, very hard to find in global retail. And that is, they are now appealing to America's bifurcated shopper base. The middle has been completely hollowed out. And the American population has really moved toward the two poles. And as that has happened, Walmart, particularly in this new format we'll talk about, has been able to achieve the capacity, in my view, to appeal to both of them at the same time. And when you can appeal to two different shopper groups at the same time in the same box, that is remarkable. They're not doing it by going after the middle and kind of sort of splitting the difference, but to say, no, look, we're going to satisfy the higher end and keep our, we'll say, standard American shopper base there. I was looking at a stat a couple days ago from 100X. Their fastest growing net promoter score growth is among those shoppers making over $200,000. Right? So again, this ability to serve the two Americas, we'll call it, if you want to simplify it, red and blue America or urban and rural America, however you want to think about it. You put all that together and, gosh, if you would have bet against Walmart in a few years ago, that would have been a pretty that would be a mistaken bet that you would have made.
That balance that you just talked about. One of the things that you did yesterday, and both of you did yesterday, you pointed out examples of that balance.
Yeah.
Do that today for our viewers as we walk through this, because I walk a store a lot, but what I learned a lot from our tour yesterday, both Sam's and Walmart, and I think for our viewers, what these gentlemen are going to do is give you some great, as I said at the beginning of the show, great insight here. So buckle up, lean on, get your notepad out, because here we go. We're about to get this done. So, Doom, anything you want to add to what Leon talked about?
As far as what we see in the department that I deal with, which is mainly displays, signage, merchandising, we do see a lot of the same thing, to where Walmart is still one of the leading retailers for annual event, to where they go very large in fourth quarter around, really items for that low dollar, the best deal you're going to get of the year. And then literally within a week, they'll reset the store and you can go in and you're looking at, $30 toys, $300 appliances.
Right.
You can go in and, outfit your dorm with a full set of furniture.
Right.
It's just amazing that there's so much within the box now to where there's really nothing you can't go into a Walmart and not shop for.
Right. One of the things you mentioned too yesterday, that was great. We went to one of those end caps in the Springdale store, and we saw this it was a couple $100, I think.
Yeah,
it was.
A $250 mixer.
Yeah, $250 mixer.
And you said, what did you said? Back in the day, we weren't even
Years ago that you would not have seen,
Yeah.
and Andy, you know that from the past. That's an item that typically you would not see on shelf on an end cap.
at all.
Right.
And here we saw multiple examples, particularly in general merchandise, of these, 200, because it was 300 high price points here in the end caps. Adjacent to, we'll call it an opening price point item or a private label price point, that was $5 or something. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't know any other retailer right now that's pulling that off the way they are.
Well, I think as we're going to dive into the store walk. So get ready. We're about to walk a store, and so you can just walk with us. Our guests can just walk with us. But I think as we begin this walk, and I think that, again, we talked about it, just I want to say this, keep in mind, think about what Leon talked about. It's the balance. There's two. It's not the middle. It's two ends, and it's difficult to execute in 4,000 plus Walmart stores and lots of Sam's Clubs, right? But we seen that being executed yesterday.
We certainly did.
I mean, in both facilities. And we had the opportunity to speak with the store manager of the Walmart store. What a great team and that we met yesterday in the store. And we want to thank them for all of their hard work in both of those facilities we walked through. All the associates and the management, they're just great looking stores. Great stores. If I was walking that store as a district manager back in the day, I would not give them very many notes. I would just probably say, keep doing it.
Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
Okay. All right, let's do this. Let's dive into the store walk.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us through that, and we'll have some comments.
And I broke it into a few. I can just, you got a bit of an analyst mind here, so I kind of broken into some buckets for us to kind of think about. The first one would just be called merchandising and layout. Okay. And the thing that you notice immediately there is that the layout itself enables you, when you first walk in, to have visibility now to the entire store.
Especially the Sam's and the Walmart
both
too, right?
Both the Sam's and the Walmart, right?
Okay.
And we're referring, of course, to the Walmart Store of the Future concept. But when you go in now, you've got visibility to everything,
right.
And it's kind of like when you go onto a website. Right? When you go onto a website, you've got a menu bar at the top. You've really got visibility so that you know where you want to dive. Mm-hmm. This is an online first framework in that regard. Mm-hmm. Just like you go onto a website and you know where to click and how to navigate. You know where to find where you are and what you're looking for. Similarly, now you're able to do that very, very easily. And so it enables more visibility, but also more cross-box kind of shopping. I think in terms of the layout, you see the elevation of certain departments more than you have in the past. Certainly apparel. I think you and I walking through there. I mean, it's pretty hard not to think that you're in a mid-market apparel. I'm not going to say department store, but pretty close to a mid-market apparel. And you and I know years ago, Walmart, what they used to call it, just jeans, underwear, socks, and tees, right? Well, this is a player in the apparel space right now, in ways that if you haven't seen it, I think it's really changing the game in the apparel space. So I think the first thing I would say is just overall the attention paid to sightlines and design within the store is important. The other thing I would say is from a display perspective, we saw a lot more eye-catching displays, better with vignettes, the lighting on those vignettes. I'm particularly strong in housewares, but also I would say health and wellness, OTC. That department very, very strong. And the other point that we see is, kind of in the display business is better integration between primary packaging, that retail-ready packaging, and even the display architecture and overhangs and things like that. We saw a number of those in Sam's as well, which means there's a lot more attention being paid to merchandising per se. That we're going to really focus in on the cube here of the shopper's sight lines, and that means that merchandising has to work harder in these in these displays in the store. They have to align better with Walmart's overall merchandising ethos and standards and all of that, and they've all got to work together, kind of. I don't know if it sounds corny, but symphonically, right? And they've all got to work together. And Walmart is being a very good merchandising maestro of this merchandising symphony in this store. And that's what impresses me. And it's better merchandising that I have seen for a long time. This new format from a layout perspective, I think is really best in class. Did I miss anything there? Was there something that you'd pull out?
I would say that what we're seeing is in displays very similar to what you stated. They are elevating a lot of different categories. If you look at HBA specifically, to where Andy, you and I talked yesterday, we saw displays to where it was almost a 50-50 mix of product and education around the product. Right. That back in the day would have been an 80-20. It used to be 80% product, very little, education or billboarding as you used to see on displays.
Right.
On the pallet trains, you look at a back to school, stocking stuffer. That's really going to be all about getting as much product onto a vehicle as possible because those are your high volume items. But really in HBA, housewares, you are seeing a lot more elevated displays. You're allowed to kind of go outside what typically we've seen in the past. Still working within the style guide, obviously, but it just gives the suppliers a lot more room to kind of play, bring the brand forward, and really show the advantages to what they're supplying to Walmart.
Right. It reminds me back again about this capacity to be both engaging, right? It's this bifurcation. I'm going to engage you where I need to. And in other cases, like in for stocking stuffers, it's look, here's the product. It's at a great price. Come and get it. Walmart's bread and butter. The capacity to act effectively in fast moving consumer goods. But at the same time, you see we've seen a lot in cosmetics, just really eye catching displays there that are just as engaging, have as much stopping power as you would see again in other channels, and that I didn't think Walmart ever before thought maybe they had the right to merchandise that way. Well, today, where so much of their growth is coming from those shoppers making over $100,000 a year, they're more than leaning in. They're leaning forward.
I think such great points on the merchandising side and the marketing side. One of the things that you all were pointing out to me as we walked through yesterday is what a great job that marketing is doing today, integrating this merchandise concept that you talked about, from everything from colors to packs to all of that. I don't think I've ever seen it this good.
You make a good point. Back in the day, now it's been a number of years, but I was a retail analyst with Kantar, and I had Walmart as one of the retailers that I was an analyst on. And my gosh, back then in the day, and this is maybe 15 years or so ago, marketing was not Walmart's strong point. Okay,
you can say that.
Okay,
yes.
Walmart was a merchant.
That's exactly right.
I mean, they were merchants, and they attached an operations engine to merchandising that created the greatest story in retail.
Right.
They're the biggest retailer in the world. What I have been noticing, and this kind of leads me, as you said, kind of into this, sort of this second bucket for me. So good handoff here. Is marketing is becoming more important to them. And you see it in coloring. You see it in the ubiquity of the spark everywhere. You see it in the new Walmart font size. You see it in the use of iconography and emojis and signage. What this says today is that Walmart branding is, I don't know if it's just as important, but it is becoming just as important as the manufacturer's branding. And you and I would use the word house of brands, right? Walmart would say, look, we're a house of brands. And they are. They are a house of brands. But increasingly, those brands that are selling in and through Walmart have to acknowledge that the Walmart brand, I don't mean the private label, that's a separate conversation.
Right.
But Walmart's branding qualities are becoming more important, almost to the extent today that you've got to think about it as co-branding, that you've got to think about your coloring, your fonts, your messaging, your taglines. You know, how does your messaging align with, in effect, save money, live better? What part of that save money, live better brand proposition are you representing? And I think that becomes a lot more important than what we have seen in the past. And I think it shows you just how powerful marketing has become for them. And it's part of that maturity curve where they're now operating on all three core cylinders of retail: merchandising, operations, and now marketing. And when you can put those three together, you're a game changer.
Yeah. Perfect.
You're a game changer.
Great.
You know, now in that same bucket, right? I think there's some other stuff that they're doing as well. That I think we want to draw attention. We can do it now, or you?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's good. I think you guys are on a roll about this, and you know, and what I again, our guests, I want you to picture this, because so what I want you to do is next time you go into a Walmart store, I want you to look at what these guys are talking about, and they pointed out multiple examples throughout the store where the manufacturer, the supplier, has integrated this marketing piece into the Walmart piece. And I have never noticed it like I seen it yesterday.
Yeah.
It was so obvious.
It's almost so seamless now.
That's a good word.
It used to be you almost had to hunt for it when you went into Walmart.
True.
And now when you walk in, it's just so natural.
And I don't know, and I wrote this down as a learning point for me to follow up on after we discussed. I don't know if I see it done that well in any other retailer.
There are other retailers maybe in the past who have done it really well, where you know the buying of the manufacturer's product is thought to be unique because you bought it at that retailer, type of thing. But you know, again, Walmart today, you know, that marketing leg of the stool, three-leg stool, right? The marketing leg of that stool was always the one that needed a little work, right? It always needed something. And today, my goodness, you know, and we could think about this like too. Walmart is increasingly a media company as well, right? I mean, they have a retail media network. They've got the partnership with Paramount, with Walmart Plus. You've got the Vizio partnership. So these media qualities are starting to infuse themselves within the company. And so our manufacturers, the manufacturers who service them, need to think, in addition to thinking about Walmart as a place to sell products, because we've said this before, 80% of what Walmart sells still sells off a shelf with a consumer buying it off the shelf, right? And the other 20% is e-commerce, and most of that is store-enabled e-commerce. So, you know, this talk of, you know, the store is in trouble. The store is thriving, critical to this success.
Absolutely. We've seen that in both locations.
I mean, my gosh, the store is the bone marrow. It's the beating heart of the Walmart enterprise. But what you're starting to see now is that our manufacturer customers have to start paying a lot more attention to that marketing and media environment within which they're selling. Because the other things that we're seeing from a product perspective, when you walk that store, okay, when you walk it, is you do see a lot more higher end brands even in the grocery department, and certainly in cosmetics, you're seeing a lot more brands that you and I would pass by one yesterday and say, I can't imagine imagine 10 years ago Walmart ever would have had that brand up or that brand. We're pointing out these brands that they wouldn't necessarily have had. They're also succeeding very well among emerging brands, the so-called challenger brands that are out there. And a few years ago, Walmart wasn't necessarily the destination for the hot, cool, millennial, Gen Alpha, Gen Z sort of focused brands. Today they are. Today that is the place where a lot of these brands want to go to be seen. And it's because Walmart is growing amongst every demographic segment that makes a difference. At the same time, they're leading in the opening price point, largely through private label, right? And but even there, the success of that Bettergoods brand. I mean, it's a $1 billion brand now, and to a shopper not knowing that they wouldn't know this was necessarily a private brand, and certainly not a Walmart. This is no Great Value, this is no Equate. This is a brand in and of itself that in many cases is priced above or slightly above some of the national brands that are in play. So the capacity for this house of brands to also bring forward a private label portfolio. And we haven't even mentioned about general merchandise. The array of general merchandise private brands that Walmart has not say quietly, but just barely under the radar screen, launched over the past several years is nothing short of astonishing.
I think we've seen that on display very well in Sam's.
Sam's, for
Members
sure.
Mart, and when you gentlemen were pointing out but when we looked at the Members Mart product and felt it and touched it and smelt it, all of that, it definitely was quality.
It's no longer just an opening price point item. It's an item you're going to go in, and it is challenging what used to be that higher value name brand item.
Yeah, and then I love that. It's exactly right. And then when you just talked about the goods brand,
Bettergoods.
Bettergoods brand. You're right. It's everything we looked at. It was quality. And then it was slightly above.
Slightly above.
But Walmart says this is worth it.
Yes.
And that, again, back to building your in-store brands with quality. It's a quality product.
That's right. And you create a reinforcing loop.
Yeah.
Right? Because you bring in better quality products, you bring in a better quality consumer.
That's that balance again, right? Back to the balance.
Right. And the challenge, Andy, is, and we've all been around long enough to know lots of retailers by the side of the road, who've tried this sort of thing. They either go for the middle, figuring we'll split the difference, and that doesn't work, or they alienate one end or the other because they go too far in one direction and alienate the shopper they had before. Their capacity to say to this shopper, to a lower income shopper or middle income shopper, and to an upper income shopper, hey, we've got you covered. For your upper income shopper, we've got Walmart Plus. We've got and it includes, particularly important is the Paramount streaming there. You've got quality name brands, particularly in general merchandise. You've got challenger brands, emerging brands here that are impressive. You've got a health and wellness and a beauty department that a standalone,
A store within a store.
Standalone specialty beauty. And that's really something. Their in the toy department. I mean, that looks like a toy specialist today. Where you could do your full end shopping, but it's got not only the private label opening price points there to compete with, say, lower end discounters in the marketplace. But it's got the wooden toys too, and that capacity to do both without alienating either. My gosh, that's the trick, and that's where you've got to give Walmart credit.
Right.
You've got to step back at this point. Look, you and I know just a few years ago, people were wondering, in this internet and digital and crazy age and all that, can Walmart survive here? And, with, new formats coming out that are exciting and energetic, and can Walmart survive? The answer has been definitively yes.
Right.
And they've not only survived, they have excelled from an in-store merchandising perspective, and certainly from an e-commerce, from a tech and e-commerce perspective, which we can talk about next. Just their capacity to become a tech powerhouse, but not for the sake of tech, but tech for the sake of merchandising.
Right.
That's the part where you wouldn't have been able to say that a few years ago, and people would have doubted you and said, I don't know that they can play here. And they have proven so many of those folks wrong, and so they deserve the credit.